Well, hiya!
Hiya there, I'm Josh.
And I'm Paul!
And today we're reviewing the Happytime Murders.
Hi. That's probably in the top 10 weirdest things we've ever done for this
I
channel.
wanted to film that so bad.
So we saw Happytime
Happytime
Murders,
Murders.
and we had different opinions
We do
as
have
well.
different opinions. I enjoyed the Happytime Murders. I thought it was funny. Something about me is I love puppetry. Anything with puppets just fascinates me. An entire movie with the premise of puppets always intrigues me, even if it's a horrible movie.
There's a world where humans and puppets are sharing together. The humans are basically racist towards the puppets.
Fabricus.
Yeah, fabric.
Fabricus.
There's this one puppet cop, or ex-cop, or ex-detective. I can't remember.
This girl comes up to him and is like, hey, I got a death threat from this person. As he's investigating, a lot of murders happen as he's there, and he's like, oh no.
And so he's not only investigating these murders with his ex-partner, Melissa McCarthy,
Yeah.
but he's
Well-
also suspected of them because he's there at the crime scene of everyone.
And the motivation matches with something that he might do.
All the people getting murdered are members of this old TV show called the Happytime Gang.
His brother was on the show, and if everyone else in the show with the contract died, all the money would go to the nearest relative.
My main issue with it is that there are so many structural issues with this story, as well as plot holes. He and Melissa McCarthy essentially spend the entire movie trying to prevent the murders from happening, as opposed to really trying to solve it. I don't really remember them actually suspecting anyone. All they're trying to do is just prove his name wrong, as opposed to being like, well, hey, this person might be about to be murdered, but they also might be the murderer. There's never a moment where they really look into the families.
But I don't think that's necessarily a flaw of the movie, because the contract states that it would go directly to the person that's alive first. And it makes sense for the antagonist, because they're trying to frame him, so every time he's there, someone gets murdered. And I think they're trying to follow the case, so I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. A good mystery usually like plants the seeds of who done it pretty early on. This movie kind of just tacked it all on at the end. That doesn't really make for good mystery. The main joke that I really found funny was just like puppets being in this world. In the movie, you know, puppets can be killed by dogs, by being torn apart by dogs.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious.
Those parts are kind of funny, but I think in terms of world building, it only builds the world in terms of convenience to the plot. I really have no sense of what this world is like outside of this movie. My mind immediately went to Zootopia. That's a movie that combines multiple races living amongst each other. It just feels like a fully realized world, whereas Happytime Murders, it just seems like, I guess we could have this in the plot, so that'll be a part of the world.
There's not a lot of details in the set that would reflect puppets
Right.
existing.
The humans treating the puppets like crap, I feel like that's meant to be a comment on racism, but it really doesn't do anything with it.
I think the obvious movie to compare this to would be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But I think Who Framed Roger Rabbit did it better. The worlds were built for both cartoons and real people. And this one, it just wasn't. It was just built for humans, and the puppets just were also there.
Well, I was also expecting it to have like a major meaning. They mentioned in the story that the Happytime Gang was like the very first TV show that featured humans and puppets, and it was a large stepping stone for puppets being accepted into society. And so the fact that they're all being murdered now, I thought that it was gonna come around and be a whole thing about racism, but then it ended up just being all about money.
I agree with you that it just kind of mentions racism passively. They're just kind of like, oh, you know, this is just a thing that happens with puppets, and it's not resolved. It doesn't go anywhere.
Okay, we're going to spoilers for the Happytime Murders. Go to the time code at the bottom of the screen if you want to avoid spoilers for the Happytime Murders.
This whole incident where the main private eye character got kicked off the police force, he accidentally missed the bad guy puppet who was holding Melissa McCarthy hostage, and like ricocheted off a thing and killed a father on the sideway.
Yeah.
And this girl was like, "Daddy."
The second that scene happened, I just went, this is going to be the climax of the movie. He's going to have to do that exact same thing again.
The whole thing was like, oh, he missed on purpose because it was a puppet, and puppets don't want to kill their own kind. Da, da, da. The girl whose father the detective character accidentally kills ends up being the villain and wants to ruin his life because he killed her father. Dissonant with the world building. Sorry, the world was collapsing for a second. It was very dissonant with the world building, and I feel like the overall theme that they wanted to do with the movie, it just became the revenge story.
So Elizabeth Banks dies like halfway through the movie. She just shows up at the end again as a villain, and then 1 minute later they get rid of her.
Yeah.
Should we go to final verdicts?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Even though I liked it, I still think it has a lot of issues, and it has some funny jokes every once in a while, but it just doesn't work, you know? There's a lot of dissonance a lot of this, but it's still enjoyable. So I give it a 5 out of 10.
I thought the Happytime Murders was kinda dumb. I thought it was a little funny at some parts, but overall, it was really just lazily thrown together, and I really didn't feel like the world was built very well enough.
Harsh.
Yeah, well... all of these issues could have been forgiven if the movie was just funnier, but I really didn't think it was, so I'll give it a 3.
Wow.
So the final verdict for the Happytime Murders is a 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4.
What did you think of the Happytime Murders? If you saw it, be sure to comment below and subscribe and like this video. Peace out. Thanks for watching, kids. Click here to subscribe and click here to watch our last video. Also, follow our Instagram account. Link is in the description. Also, Josh's letterboxd is in the description as well. Peace out.